Okay, well, welcome everyone. It's Nicola Cairncross here again, and you've arrived at my Clicks and Leads channel, which is where we help the new business person or the small business owner to market their business better online in a fun, easy, quick, enjoyable way, because most people are scared of marketing and sales. The good news is it can be fun. So today I wanted to talk to you about a visitor I had. A friend of mine came round today to see me, and she was talking about her son, who is quite a highly skilled telephone engineer. Turns out that they're all self-employed nowadays because they don't work for BT, they work for some sort of agency who then employs them on a self-employed basis. Now, her son has just bought a house. The only problem is it's now 2 weeks to Christmas, and the agency that he works for has just laid them all off because parent company, whoever it may be, is not installing fibre optic cables right this red hot second. So he is now incomeless. And I felt quite sad and sorry for him, because that must be a real worry 2 weeks before Christmas, unless he's got a big wedge of savings that he can use to tide him over, which I don't know, he might have. But I just felt this real sort of feeling about when she was telling me about it. And I was saying to her, has he got any hobbies or interests? And she was telling me all about the things he was interested in. But largely, he just comes home from work and has his tea and watches some football and goes to bed and starts again all over again in the morning. And I was thinking to myself, of all those people who are being made redundant or are going to be made redundant in 2023, and I just felt that I really need to put something on YouTube to try and help people who might be searching for ideas on how to start a business, or what kind of business to start, or what they could possibly do online to earn an extra income, or alongside their existing income perhaps, or if they've just suddenly been laid off, well, how could they get going, up and running, making money from a small business themselves as quickly as possible? So I thought I might take you through the process I would use if I was talking to a brand new person and they come to me and said, Nicola, how do I make money? How do I start a business? Where do I start? What do I do? Can you help me? So the first thing I would ask them is, do they have any hobbies or interests? And if they've got something they're passionate about, then I would definitely say to them to start there, because they're going to have to learn some processes, and it's better to learn those processes doing something you're interested in. I have tried, believe me, I have tried. I have bought domain names for things I'm not interested in. I've built websites for things I'm not interested in. It's just excruciatingly painful, and you never do the things you need to do and learn the things you need to learn because you're simply not interested in the topic. We had guinea pigs once. I bought a domain name called theguineapigwhisperer.com. I was trying to get a whole sort of flow of advertising to people who like guinea pigs and getting them to ask their burning questions about guinea pigs. Then I was going to set up an ebook and to sell the ebook to the people who came to the website from the traffic from the people who like guinea pigs. So it was a bit of a closed loop. The problem is that a lot of people think that these things don't work unless they actually know someone who has made money being a YouTuber, or made money from blogging, or made money from a niche site. They just don't believe it's going to work. And the one that stops them from taking action, because they go, I have to make money now. And actually, they're not going to make money right now. Then they're going to manage somehow. I don't know how people do manage, but they are going to manage. And then they're 3 months down the line, they won't have started the thing that might have been making them the money in 3 months' time, because they were thinking, I need something to make me money now. So that's a big repeating limiting belief I see. I can't work on something I'm interested in or I'm passionate about because it's not a real job and it's not a real business. Well, it's just as much a real business if you're passionate about or interested in something as it is if you try and do it about something that you aren't passionate or interested about, but you think is going to bring you quicker income. You're just wasting time not getting started. The other thing I would ask someone if they just come out of corporate life is, what were you most expert at? Now, often they go, oh, I don't want to do that again. But that is the route to the fastest money. If you've got expertise or knowledge, and the more esoteric that expertise or knowledge is, the better. The more obscure it is, the more likely you are to be able to find your audience online. I once had a client who was a cement expert. He had a massive old microscope, cost hundreds of thousands. People used to send in bits of cement from all over the world. and he had an ebook on cement, and he had a website all about cement, and it was all about cement microscopy. Oh, there you go, I managed to say it. And you can actually find him online. If you go and search for a cement expert in the UK, you'll find him. And the website's probably as old-fashioned looking as it ever was, but it'll be selling his ebook, and he'll be making money from it, and it'll be bringing him consulting clients, and people from India will be sending him bits of cement for him to look at under his microscope. So if you've got a skill or an expertise, or you're coming out of corporate life and you had a job there, that a clearly defined job that you could set up as a freelancer on, that would probably be your fastest route to the money. Then all you've got to do then is to create a social media presence, create a website, which is where you can make your offer and have people buy your offer, and then create an audience who know who you are, what you do, and what you can do for them, most importantly. So I'd be looking at hobbies, passions, expertises. If you're not sure about what to sell to make money, because you're either going to be selling, you're going to have to sell, because you're going to have to sell something to make money. It's either going to be a product or a service, or it's going to, and then looking at products, it's either going to be your own product, which you create, or it's going to be someone else's product, which you go out and source and sell through an affiliate link. Now, this is where we get into the realms of affiliate marketing, because you can start with Amazon if you haven't got any products of your own. But you need to be very clear about the niche you're going to go into. And that's why I say you may as well start with something you're interested in. If you've got an expertise, then you could then decide if you're going to sell a product or a service, and you could actually sell products on the front end, moving back to a service on the back end. It can either be a do-it-yourself, a done for you, or a done with you service. So when I say do it yourself, I mean that you're training people how to do something, and that makes a great front end product. It can also be given away free to build your mailing list. The done with you is usually a training and mentoring kind of service, where you teach people what to do, ideally by video that you don't have to be there for, and then you pitch up regularly to help people work their way through the videos and the training that you've supplied. And that means that people are much more likely to complete the training if they get some kind of backup support. Are you going to start an online business? Because I suggest you do an online business unless you've got a skill that can only be done in the real world, like making cupcakes or brownies or something like that. So you're going to do something online because it's easier. Online or offline, that's your first choice. Online, is it going to be your product or service or someone else's product or service? And how are you going to refer people so that you earn if it's the latter? If it's the former, how are you going to create a nice customer flow so that someone comes to your website, gives you their name and email in return for some nice bit of value-driven content? And then how are you going to follow them up and introduce them to your main offer? And then is that main offer going to be training orientated? Is it going to be training and mentoring orientated? Or is it going to be a done for you kind of service where you do the work and take all the worry and hassle off people, and they just pay you to deliver an outcome? So these are the choices you're going to make. Now, when it comes down to building your audience, there are choices there as well. You're either going to pay for traffic to your website, eyeballs on your offer, I call it, or you're going to work for it. Pay for it or work for it. If you're going to work for it because you don't have any money to pay for it, i.e. you're not going to get involved in pay-per-click, Google AdWords, Facebook ads and that sort of stuff at the beginning, then you're going to have to work for your audience, aren't you? So how are you going to do that? I would suggest that you do it in the easiest, most fun way possible. When I did my thought experiment on making business decisions, and I was working through the process, if you look back on the videos, it's the one where we've got post-it notes all over the screen, how to make good decisions. You'll see that my easiest fun way to create content on an ongoing basis is to talk to camera like I'm doing now. I also love doing live streams, but you've got to wait till your audience is big enough to do a live stream. Otherwise, you'll be sitting there talking to yourself and it won't be such good quality. And you'll feel, if you're really, really spontaneous and you're highly skilled on the tech, you can go live and record this kind of content live, which will bring you more viewers. But if you're not quite so confident on the tech, and I wasn't at the time because I was getting going again after a couple of years off, then you need to just sit and talk to camera. Imagine you're talking to your best friend or your ideal client, and just decide what it is, what problems those people have, and what problems you can solve for them. So I'm really good at getting people to make decisions to cut through the fog of overwhelm and confusion, and then to take action. That's my strength as a mentor. And I make it really in my Be Everywhere Online program, which is designed to get you, literally, there's a 5-day challenge in there, and it's designed to get you in front of your ideal audience as quickly as possible. The 5-day challenge is fantastic because you could take 5 months, 6 months, a year to work through my trainings, but I encourage you to do the 5-day challenge because it will get you an outcome within 5 days, and you'll be encouraged beyond measure by getting some sort of outcome. And again, that is the biggest second challenge after the one where people don't want to get started because it's not going to bring them an income quick enough. And 3 months, 6 months, a year goes later, and if they'd started back then, they would have been earning an income by now. Basically, you need the second biggest challenge is when people think it's not going to work. They get so far and then they drop off because they think it's not going to work. And that's why my process is so brilliant, because it gives you a really good outcome right at the beginning, which encourages you to push through any bits that you don't understand, any bits that you don't know, any bits you're not enjoying quite so much, because you've seen that you can generate an outcome of some kind. And it saves you from going through that process of, oh, it's not going to work, I need to try something new, I need to find something new, which is what I see all the time. Are you going to start a business online or offline? Let's go with online. Hardly any overheads. Is it going to be your own product or service or expertise, or is it going to be somebody else's? How are you going to attract your audience of potential buyers? Are you going to work for it or pay for it? And then if you're going to work for it, how are you going to do that? There's lots of different ways to get in front of an audience online. There's YouTube, there's Instagram, there's Facebook, there's Twitter. I wouldn't recommend TikTok because nobody wants that on their phone. But you've got to decide: podcasting, video, is it going to be audio, video, written? That's the 3 choices there for creating content. Are you going to be a blogger? Are you going to be a YouTuber? Are you going to be a podcaster, or some combination of the 3? So I talk to camera, I extract the audio from the video, and then I top and tail it with some music, and it turns into a podcast. And then it also goes onto YouTube. And then on both of my websites, I've got blogs, and I embed the video in one of them, and then I embed the podcast player in the other. And then it fires out to Apple, Spotify, Galaxy Radio, iHeart Radio. I mean, you would not believe where podcasts go now. They go all over the shop. And my Libsyn host account manager was talking to me the other day, and he said, Nicola, you need to do these other ones. And I said, well, I've never heard of them. He said, well, they're Africa, they're India, they're the Far East. We've got a massive following in the Far East. He said, you've got to get your podcast going out to all of those places. And it's as simple as a click of the button. And he showed me, because I thought you had to go out and make an account with each of these people and then come back and feed your podcast out to them. And it actually, on the back end of my hosting package at Libsyn, you literally just click add, authorize, and that's it, and save, and that's it. So getting into the weeds there a bit on podcasting, I'm just still amazed at what podcasting can do for business people. I really am. So we've gone through online or offline, your own stuff or someone else's stuff. Are you going to work for it or pay for it in terms of traffic and attention? And then what are you going to offer on the back end? Because if your customers love you and they want to buy from you and you don't offer the next thing that they need, then they will go somewhere else. So literally, you're creating a flow of customers from wherever they are online, right through to your website and your offer, and then your follow-up, and then your back-end offer. Hopefully, you've got a business there that's giving you a recurring income, ideally, and it's either functioning alongside your day job to give you a means to develop a pot of savings that will take you through if your day job disappears for some reason, or it will function as an alternative source of income if you've been made redundant or laid off or anything awful like that's happened to you. This is a real gallop through my process of how I work with people. If you would like to talk to me about this, then just follow the links in the description below and you can book in to talk to me, and I'd be delighted to take you through that process. And even if you come back the next week and say, I've changed my mind, I don't want to do any of the things I decided last week, we can run through the process again. And it just helps to clear the fog of overwhelm and confusion about what you should be doing next. And there's a much more formal process that I run through with actually ongoing clients, but that quick and dirty questions I've just asked you will help you enormously to make your decisions about what you should be doing to make an income in the shortest possible time in 2023. Do let me know what you think in the description below. If you like this video, if you enjoyed it, if you subscribe to the channel, if you make a comment, all of that tells YouTube who else might enjoy this video. So do feel free to do any of those things. It helps me, it'll help future viewers, and hopefully will all help lots of people in 2023. Thanks for listening. Speak to you tomorrow.